Hey, Steve.
Hello.
Hey, Nick.
Cheers.
How you fellas doing today?
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Hey, Steve, I think you need to move your mic.
Oh, okay.
We had another boomer
right
moment.
there. No, I had a close, not, but my head was ahead of my mic.
No.
Yep.
Anyway, our stream today. Well, the topic is why women have sex.
Okay,
How
Steve,
much?
though. I have a
Go
question.
ahead.
What can three
Okay.
dudes know about why women have sex?
I was just gonna get there.
Church
How
doesn't
much?
have a fucking clue. I'll tell you that.
How much of a man's time, any man, is spent? Oh, why do women have sex, and how can I get them to have sex with me?
Or you're married and you're like, why won't she fuck me?
Okay, that one too.
I think we've all been there.
So this question
have.
is, why do women have sex? Why do they have sex with all the bad boys and not me? Because I'm a good man. Oh, why? Why did she leave me to have? Why did she have an affair and have sex with that other guy? So why did she have
Brad
sex there?
Thundercock?
Yeah. Why did she have sex
Tyrone.
when we were before marriage or in the first year, and now she's not letting me have sex? Whoa, what's
ABC,
going
maybe?
on? What's that?
ABC or IPA? Sorry.
Well, it could be.
There's probably more to it than that, though, because
Oh,
it's.
there's a lot of answers here.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's because, okay, she had sex with me before we got married, and now she doesn't want to. What changed?
Yep. Been there.
And how many
Yep.
young men?
Got the trophy.
How many young men? Oh, she had sex. It's because she loves me.
Yeah, guys, I know we're picking on you young guys out there, but from all of us, who a few years ahead of you, that's a lie.
There was a book written of this title. Did you guys know that? It's called Why Women Have Sex:
Okay.
Understanding Sexual Motivations from Adventure to Revenge and Everything in Between. And it was written by Cindy Meston and David Buss. This is a book.
David Buss. Rollo refers to him a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah. So
Hasn't
you
this,
know what? Oh, go
hasn't this
ahead.
book come up a few times on Rolo's streams, or no? Because was this written? The question would be: was this written? Because David Buss had this change in how he viewed the world at some point during his career. So when was this book published? Is what I'm asking.
August 2009.
Okay. I think this was before the big shift happened in the Evo Psych world. I don't remember what the shift was, but I'm wondering if that's why this book is not talked about anymore.
Yeah, well, this approach is that I don't know who. Well, Cindy Meston is PhD. She has a PhD, and so does David Buss. So yeah, it was written by Evo Psych basis. They got a lot of data in here, and they did a survey. Let's see. Someone did a review. The study involved 1,006 women from a variety of backgrounds, and asked them a whole bunch of questions. There were 236 reasons women have sex. And they categorized them into some broad categories. And here they are: loneliness, revenge, charity, to protect their partner from other predatory women, simple boredom. Those are just some of them.
So protecting the other from other ones, we call that mate guarding in the red pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've not read the book. I've not listened to any interviews or exposés of the book, but I put together a list for us to discuss.
Yeah, you did.
So, any thoughts before we start going through the list?
Man, women don't enjoy sex, do they? It's just a chore, right?
No, come on.
We certainly hear that a
Nick,
lot.
Nick, you're a red pill guy. Have you not heard of tingles?
Oh, there we go. That's the first point.
I'll call tingles just a biological urge.
But some just have a low libido. No, like some people's have married, right? And their wives have a low libido. That's why she won't fuck them, right?
Well, it's amazing that this only came about after 3, 4, 7 years of marriage.
Imagine that.
Okay. Biologically, yes, it is beneficial for women to not be as driven sexually as men are. Okay. This is not the same thing as saying that she has low libido or, my personal favorite, no libido.
I heard all this shit.
Yeah. Heard all that. We
Oh, yeah.
it's a very specific response to men's high libido that it's in part what drives the whole purity. I have to save myself. And remember, women, for them, there is a biological, for guys, it's, if you're doing well, it's 9 minutes. But for a woman, it's 9 months of biological stress, really. So they have, they do technically have a lower libido than men do. And that's a very key thing. This does not mean go ahead.
Does it have to do with testosterone levels?
Yes, it does. But this doesn't mean that if a woman has no libido, what she's really saying is she has no testosterone, and that she's actually, okay, we're past 8 minutes. She's actually dead.
Or she doesn't have the tingles for you.
Well, the red pill talks about that all the time, right?
I won't do this with you. I won't do X, Y, and Z in bed with you.
There's always a guy that they will do it
reality,
for.
guys.
That's because she's moved from her adventure stage into her purity stage.
Is that the Madonna whore
And-
complex we talked about before?
Yeah, kind of. Yes, she had her fun in her young days. Oh, she's learned her lesson. And now she found God, or maybe she just found morality. And now she wants to be loved for who she is, not for just dirty sexual purposes. So she withholds the sex so you can love her for her purity. And that's why, you're the guy that she didn't do it on the first night, because you're of higher quality. You're a long-term play, not the short-term guy.
Dude,
So
that makes
go
no
ahead.
sense. I mean, that's FSL, female shit logic. Hey, he's a higher quality guy. I'll fuck him less.
No, it's not higher, lower. It's he's the fun guy. You're the
Oh.
long-term guy. And so
Oh,
if I'm playing this for the long term, she needs an investment from you, financial protection commitment.
oh, beta.
And
She's
so-
getting beta security phase. She's securing
she
her
had to-
beta.
She raised her price for you. She
Mm.
gave it away free, but now for you, because she wants you to make an investment in her, not just plant your seed. Now, you know what? You got to jump through a few hoops. So that brings up my second point. She uses sex to get a man.
Mm.
Now, the funny thing is, you can use giving sex to get a man or withholding sex to get a man.
Well, it's power and resources. This is her agency.
It is.
This is her ultimate agency. Okay, please go.
So
go with it.
what Steve is talking about is a topic that's not unknown to us. It's the concept of sex as currency, and the red pill talks about this in pricing. I've been involved with pricing products before. There's something called the pricing signal, or what that means is, what does the price signal about the quality or the quality of the product that's being sold, right? So and you can see this work. Okay, y'all are probably familiar with the brand Gucci, right? Women love this stuff, handbags and shoes. Yeah, exactly. Why can Gucci sell a bag that cost them $30 to make in China for $3,000, where somebody, an unknown company can't sell it for 60?
Status.
The reason is that if you sell it for 60, you're signaling that it's worth $60 to you, the seller. If you sell it for 3,000, you're signaling that it's now. There's more to the psychology of pricing than this, but this is one aspect of it, right? Is to say, oh well, but that Gucci bag, that's worth $3,000. Okay, so what so by withholding sex, what she's saying or what she's trying to say is, see, I'm expensive. You're going to have to work for me. Never mind the fact that I was a whore for those other guys and gave it to them cheaply. That's what she's
No, she was a
trying to say.
304 sorority girl in college and afterwards.
Okay, and you know what? From your perspective, from a man's perspective, if she gave it up to you on the first night, put her in the 304 category.
Right. And she knows that.
Well,
maybe
if
not.
she holds back, no, we're going to wait 3 months or we're going to wait till marriage. Oh, automatically, you're going to think she's in a better category. What category do you want to put her in? Well, obviously the high category, if you think she's marriage material and she can demonstrate that she's marriage, well, she can put on the mask.
Well, there's another way she can do this, Steve. There's another way. And we see this all the time. It's a trope of the red pill. All these women, they hit 28, 29. Where do they go, Nick? Where do they go?
The church.
I
can't find any good man to marry me. I need children. I'm a good conservative woman. I promise. I haven't slept with that many men. I promise. I'm not a whore.
Well, but so there's more than one way to say, oh, See, I am high value. I go to a church. I'm more pure than those whores out. And oh, you'll hear this a lot on TikToks. The mid 30s women, church women, talking about how, why would a guy go for a younger woman when he could go for me, the pure church woman? It's the same thing. They are borrowing the clothes of the church to signal their purity.
Yeah, either through acknowledging their past and claiming they repented, or by not mentioning their past. They just show up.
Both strategies work. Both strategies are going to get you different kinds of guys, which suits the women just fine.
Oh yeah. Well, they want to get a man. It's their resource to get a man. And I don't know. In one
But
sense, it's not a bad thing to want a man, to want to have sex with a man, but to control a man with the piece between her legs, yeah, that's a typical power mechanism, especially of the feminist movement.
well, now you're going to make me get political here.
No. Oops.
Oh well.
So, what is the 4B movement, and which people are talking about that post-election?
Didn't this start off
4B.
in Korea?
It did in 2019.
Hmm.
It's the core tenets of the 4B, and I'm going to read this because there's things you need to see here. And you need to listen very carefully to what the actual core tenets are. No sex with men. That's the first B. No giving birth. Okay. No dating men. No marriage with men.
Damn, these are good nuns.
Well,
Not necessarily.
yeah. Well, but so if you read this, though, it's no sex with men. I'm pausing for emphasis here. No giving birth. You can get pregnant. Okay. No giving birth. No dating men. But you can date other women if you want.
Well, this could be like lesbianism also.
Well, I think what people, I think this has actually been relatively well put out there. 4B is a radical feminist movement, and it has a lot. It was started by a bunch of Marxists. So it is very specific about the gender bending ideology. So it is very specific about who and what you can and cannot do. And surprise, surprise, in the United States, who are the women who are attaching themselves to this?
The ones don't want to wipe up to begin with.
Yeah, I see the similarity. A lot of married
Thank you.
it's like, I don't like what you're doing. I'm closing up shop, and you're not getting any.
Thank God.
Yeah, the 4B thing on Twitter hasn't really gone well for the women, because I pretty much every time I see it, the comments are just a bunch of men saying, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, because your fat ass will be hit by the door.
It's like the bright red hair, the blue hair, and all the other things saying, I'm poison, I'm a feminist, didn't work.
Right.
Now they're just saying, no, we are poison. And in fact, we're not going to have anything to do with you, and we're poisonous. I'm like, oh, so you're just sparing us the trouble. Thank you.
Yeah. What's not selling this message is the women with the hog ring in their nose that are they're going on TikTok and saying
Oh man.
And the purple hair. It's got to have,
purple hair and tattoos.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it's blue hair,
Okay.
purple hair, or red hair, right? Or pink hair sometimes.
unnatural colors is really what
Yeah.
it is.
Right, right. Red flags.
So
But they're
anyway,
taking
go ahead, Nick.
so the red flag women are taking themselves out,
Okay.
and
Well,
men are supposed to be upset.
and they mean it forever right now.
I mean it forever today.
Thank God.
And one woman says, yes, we're going to do this. And yes, unless it's an emergency.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh.
oh,
There's the
okay.
exception.
Oh, there
They'll
are
break the glass
there are
every time.
exceptions.
They'll break the. They'll
Do we
break
need
the
to
glass
define
with
an
Chad
emergency
Thundercock.
here, Steve? Because
You can use your imagination.
I
There's-
imagine
There's
I imagine-
exceptions to everything a woman says. That's something that's absolutely true. But there's always an exception.
The exception is Chad Thundercock also swiped right.
Right, I was just gonna say the Henry Cavill emergency clause here.
Mm.
Even though that guy would he's an avid gamer and is probably much more interested in gaming than he is women if you've actually paid. But that doesn't stop women. They still have the Henry Cavill emergency clause in their They don't realize how they sound, sadly.
Well,
It's-
okay, so this one's not on my list. But in that case, the woman could have sex with him for reputation. Do they have do they-
another term would be clout.
clout?
Clout.
Okay,
There you go.
get a football star or a baseball or a basketball star. Ooh, yeah,
Oh,
bragging rights,
that sounds familiar.
reputation,
Wasn't there
clout.
wasn't there a certain billionaire woman that like had supposedly a planned relationship with a guy that went to the Super Bowl? Supposedly.
Allegedly, we have to get comfortable with the word allegedly here.
It sounds plausible.
Okay.
He's referring to a certain mid. How old is she now? She can't be young.
She doesn't move very swift.
Yeah, her dancing has gotten very unswift. They were mocking her recently on Twitter for that.
Mhm.
Sorry, Steve, we didn't mean to hide. Well, we did mean to hijack you.
That's fine. You never know where our conversations are going to go, or what little tidbits are going to be dropped
35, by the
or
way.
related to.
She old now.
Damn, I'm old, man. So are you. So is everyone here.
Everyone here is old.
So no, okay, let's move on to the next one. A woman can have sex to keep a man.
That's not
Yeah.
a bad reason.
I don't know that I've experienced this, or when I think back on my life that's ever happened. But
That's when dread works. That's when dread works.
if she knows he's a bit of a player, or even if it's a husband and he's looking at another woman, she wants to keep him. Yeah. You know?
I wonder if that particular reason is a bit of female wish casting. And I say that because we hear all these stories of time and time again. These women, they opened their legs for whatever mid to low tier star, famous person. And they get used and dumped. And so it's like, okay, you got the man for a night, but you think that sex is going to keep him? Well, for the guys that you want, ladies, he's got so much sex around him that, well, that's not going to work. And for the guys that they don't want, they don't have sex with them, as we know from all the guys who have dead bedrooms. So that's why I'm wondering if this one is, and it's one of those things when you're dealing with psych data and surveys, is the women can all say that they would use sex to keep a man, but could that, I'm wondering if in this particular case it's wish casting, like they really, really hope that, and maybe even believe that their sex is good enough to keep a man. I don't know, something to think about.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure that happens. The one, the standard thing probably happens too. Remember, there's 236 reasons,
Right?
and that's probably just the tip of the iceberg.
No
So,
lie.
but you bring up something. If she's with that Chad Thundercock, she has to perform to keep him. And it's got to be some pretty awesome stuff. And it's got to be a bit adventurous. And she can't be a prude if she's going to keep this guy.
Yeah.
So I think let's just say she's going to be a bit more imaginative and receptive to new experiences.
Well put, Steve. Well put. Well, it's true. And I mean, again, we've talked about this in the red pill ad infinitum. So the red pill guys are just sitting over here nodding along, going, yeah. And I mean, this the stuff is true. We can see it in the data. So, but on this one, I do wonder how much of it is wish casting.
Okay, this next one. She has sex to get pregnant.
That's complicated, but not really.
Well, but isn't it kind of derivative of? It can be derivative of to get a man or keep a man. And there's actually two
Or
different-
resources.
Can
Or resources.
be, but I have some experience with this one. Some good, some not good. So in my first marriage, my wife was, let's just call her a prude. She was getting close to the wall. We got married. She was on birth controls. I don't think she was really into me. I was just that young engineer. Good catch. So anyway, we tried to get pregnant, or she tried to get pregnant. It wasn't working. So we had to go through some of the fertility shit.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it is shit. It sucks. And then you're trying to do it on a schedule. And she's saying, okay, we need to do it. You know what? Sometimes my equipment wouldn't work when it was the worst sex of my entire life when
Damn.
he was doing it, and she just wanted to acquire my seed, and it wasn't taking. Oh God, to do it again. It really bad because it wasn't about me. It wasn't about love.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
Okay.
okay.
So Steve, similar thing. Like I was married 11 years before shit hit the fan,
Yeah.
First year was okay. Then I caught some shit that was going on. And after the first child, it really fucking went downhill. It went downhill way fucking bad before that. But It seems like every fucking time we had sex, she just wanted to have a kid. She didn't want me. Just lay there, starfish sex. I'm like, what the fuck? She, we'd have like a 4 hour argument beforehand. I'm like, why do I have to argue with you for 4 hours just to get here? This doesn't make sense. And then she'd get mad because, wait, why aren't you into it? Like, that's why I'm not into that's why I'm not getting up. So, for your information.
Okay, so as what's the word? The opposite. My second wife. She was not raised Christian. She became Catholic shortly before we married, but she wasn't really behaving that way. And I had to marry her because she was from Canada and she immigrated here. You know that. You know that rule, Plutarch. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it was good. It was great. Best sex I've ever had. She was enthusiastic. And even though we didn't have a kid and we decided we weren't going to, she actually just wanted it deep, and wanted it for the purpose of having my child, not having a child. Even though, it was kind of pretend, but it was unprotected sex at the time when she was not likely to get pregnant. I mean, she was my wife. So, yeah, we were prepared for the possibility, but, she was past 40 and I'm 10 years older. So, you take the chance. A lot of people do. That was great. Because it wasn't about getting her pregnant. It was, in her mind, it was about bearing my child. Of course, later on, I guess she changed her mind because we're divorced now, and it wasn't a good divorce. So, yeah.
Wait,
her
Steve,
reason.
I understand that.
Steve,
Go ahead.
You mean
Yeah.
women can change their minds as they get older? What? You mean
Oh, no shit.
Huh?
Yeah. I thought, man, I vetted this woman. She was kind of in the red. Well, she was in the red pill. She knew this stuff. She had all the talking points down. She saw all the destruction other women did by divorce. She was really into me. Oh, man. Same outcome.
Shit.
So Chief has a comment here that I was actually going to bring up, but he brought it up, so I'll give him credit. Maybe the arguing before segs was notebook drama. This is way, way more common than you think, guys. Women actually believe that having a fight gets you in the mood because it gets them in the mood. It's emotional.
But it does get them in the mood. Because in that book, I watched a little clip, I guess, of they did some studies. No, you don't want your woman to take a bubble bath and relax. You want her to run around the block, or you chase her around the block, or get her emotions up because it gets her blood flowing in all the right parts. And she is more aroused after stimulation than after relaxation. So yeah, there could be a little bit of that. And women like drama, and it could be that next X used the drama to create the excitement that she didn't have by passion, but it was still excitement.
Right. Now, I do think that'll
yeah, I didn't appreciate the fists and the shoving and other crazy threats of self-harm. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that. So, yeah, let's put it that way.
Well, and this is where I think the dark side of what Chief is getting at comes from is they think we've gotten so far away from people understanding even themselves that they think that because we are all equal, this is that blank slate equalism, that surely this tactic must do the same thing for men too. And so all we have to do is start a fight and get the man emotionally involved, and then he will become aroused as well. And the movies, particularly, like The Notebook and many, many others, Hallmark Channel is full of this shit. Portray exactly that. You get the guy into a fight and they're going at it, and then they look in their eyes and then they just start kissing. It's like, that's not how this actually works. You fight me, I'm sending you to the doghouse for the rest of the day. Fighting's a boner killer, man. It's not gonna work.
Nope. Doesn't work. I mean, look, there's some drama. It can get you worked up, but within reason. If it's like crazy, if she,
I don't know, man.
if she gives you pushback, it's not bad, right? If she gives you pushback, if she,
a
that's
little
a
bit of back
signal,
and
but
a little bit of back and forth isn't the problem. It's when it turns into an actual fight.
right. And there's no way out.
Right.
And then you can get accused of shit if you take that as a invitation to initiate a sexual act.
Yes. Even if it was what she actually wanted. I don't know if she actually wanted that. I don't know. But that you can't say that. Oh, she was just instigating a fight because he wanted sex. That's not going to cut it. Even it might be true, but no. Can't do that.
No cop is going to buy this ever.
No. No.
Okay, well, that's a good segue into the next one. To obtain power. Well, she's using her pussy power to get power. What kind of power? It could be any kind of power. But one of them is femme domination. If she can use sex to gain power over the man.
By the way,
keep them dumb and satisfied and giving her money or listening to her. If you do this for me, I'll give you sex. She wants to control the man by having sex with him. Then she has power.
Okay, we're far enough in, although OF. OF is the pinnacle of this particular dynamic. Because these women are giving
some more water.
These women are giving sex. Okay, they are they're obtaining men's resources. They are dominating these men, whether or not the men realize that's what's happening to them. They're getting money from these men. They're taking the man's resources. And we've talked about the difference between OF and a certain hub before. And this is actually a key difference that we're not going to get into that because it's not the point of this. We've done videos, one or two videos on this in the past. But the point here is that when you pay for it, that is the ultimate form of power that you can give a woman. Yes, you're giving her the resources, but you're giving yourself. And what we talked about in our prior videos, that 90% of OF subscribers are married men, and you're giving yourself this whore yourself primarily because you're lonely in your own relationship. How much power can I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example here. The female desire to prove that they have power. One of the most common ways you'll see that written is like in books is, aha, I can steal this man from this woman. I'm more powerful because I stole this man. Well, in OF, not only does she get to steal one man, she gets to steal thousands of men from their. Now, I'm not saying the wives are innocent here, but in girl world, this is maximum power. I can steal thousands of men.
She doesn't even have to steal the man. She can just steal resources from the man.
Yes.
Which steals resources from another woman, which makes her one up on other women. Women compete with other women.
Oh, yes.
If I can get your man to look at me and give me money, ha ha. What's
I'm
that
better
say
than
about
you.
me? What's this say about you? Ha
Yeah.
ha. I'm better. Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways you can talk about obtaining power, and it's probably the most corrosive aspect of modern feminism is this indoctrination of women that the obtaining of power is the highest female goal. We've talked about will to power stuff before. That was 4 streams ago now, so 2 Mondays ago.
Yeah.
This stuff is corrosive and destructive in the highest order, regardless of which gender. But women, for whatever reason, seem to be really, really, really good at destroying things with this stuff.
So
Oh
the
yeah,
next one
it's
I'm
a
out.
usurpation. Usurpation of hierarchy. It's a usurpation of basically the sexes. Yeah, it's all rooted in the desire to dominate man, but they end up being, in some sense, dominated because they are the ones being penetrated.
Well,
So-
in the case of
Yeah.
OF, they will never. OF girls,
Right, true.
they're never going to have normal quote unquote lives. Yes, we all know Nala got married to a guy and she got it. Yeah, that relationship ain't long for this world, folks.
Well, the two of them were on whatever. And Andrew Wilson was on there. Let's just say Nala's husband, not very intellectual.
You didn't. Was anyone under the illusion that he was selected for his intelligence? Was
You know, I don't agree with her, but she is more articulate and knowledgeable than him, even though she doesn't know anything.
which Andrew handedly and easily demonstrated. She was literally
Oh, yeah.
saying that the Trinity isn't a thing. And what kind of church do you go to where Jesus is not also God? Like that's
Oh,
There ain't isn't
And-
much.
what did he tell Andrew? You can't use the word shit
oh yeah,
if you're a good
the whole
Christian.
What a
whole
bunch of shit.
puritanical.
So, anyway, in between those two, who do you think has the power?
Not him.
Oh yeah.
He just looks good to her, and he's kind of bulked up and kind of Jim Bro-ish. So the tingles were there. Okay, we just talked
Bro.
about tingles earlier. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Tingles. tingles are not a permanent thing.
They are never a permanent thing.
They can go away forever, but also keep in mind the tingles show up right about the time she's ovulating.
Yep.
And if she's menstruating, no tingles then. I mean, virtually none. There are exceptions to everything. But in general, her libido goes on a 28-day cycle?
Yep.
Something like that. Isn't it
Yes,
like a lunar
guys, it
cycle?
will.
Is it a
What?
lunar cycle? Isn't it like a lunar cycle?
It's
Well,
the
it's
same
close
length.
to the lunar.
It's the same length, but they do not all track the actual lunar cycle. They're not all synchronized.
And yeah,
Okay.
okay, on this 28-day cycle, if you want to be a bit adventurous, she is more receptive to new experiences right around the time she's ovulating. Now, if she's on artificial contraception,
EC.
that just screws everything up, and you're not getting a woman with that normal cycle. He may turns a lot of women into bitches all month long.
Or it can turn them horny all month long.
I didn't experience that, but yeah, okay.
So there's ABC and IPA?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's ABC again?
Artificial birth control. Or I've also used it for
Circumcision?
what? Abortion, birth control and circumcision, which believe it or not, impact your sexual acts and bonding, pair bonding. But yeah, we talked about that on the first stream I did with Elena on a Saturday. So
That would have
that's
been a while ago.
what, January,
Somewhere.
January,
It's a long time ago.
February,
It's a long time ago.
probably
Internet times.
February of this year. So yeah, a while ago. We haven't gone back into that. I don't know if we will. So, okay. Here's the next reason a woman has sex: pleasure.
No, Steve, you don't understand. Women never have sex for pleasure.
Oh, she just feels like
No.
it. She doesn't have any ulterior motivation. She just wants some pleasure. She wants some comfort and some cuddles and good orgasm. And, let's just have fun. It could be on a one-night stand hookup.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to say.
Or it could be with the husband. You don't know. It just
with
can
the
happen
husband
for
though,
simple
it's
reasons.
it's with on the husband side, it's probably only going to happen if that husband and like that relationship is such that she's already like highly desirous. We talk about genuine desire in the red pill a lot, right? And I want to say this for all the guys out there in dead bedrooms. Look, we know, we understand, and this is actually a marker you can use to say, oh, she really isn't into me. If she's not just having sex just for fun, that should tell you guys something.
Red flag.
Right? Yeah. Women.
I couldn't tell you the last time when I was married. After like the second year, she wanted to do it for fun.
Right.
9+ years of hell.
Well, but at the same time, these women have no problem going out and before you got married and just doinking some dude at a nightclub.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No, women can, and this is what I was saying right at the very beginning. women, yes, they technically have a lower sex drive than men because they have lower testosterone. That's all true. But this women try to sell it to you men, particularly you married men out there. They try and sell it to you as, well, my libido is just too low. I just, I just don't need I actually heard this. I just don't need it for pleasure. Fuck you. It's just bullshit. It's bullshit. Women have
That's
sex for fun
bullshit.
too.
Yep.
That's
Well, it
bullshit.
kind of leads right into the next one. Emotional release. Some women know that after sex, after an orgasm, their body relaxes, they get oxytocin. It's just, there's peace afterwards. Now, that doesn't mean she's going to have sex with you, because there's always Bob.
Kevin in accounting.
Battery operated boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But there is
Okay.
there is a release that comes, and it is well, there's that phrase. When a woman is a little bit out of sorts, a little bit wacko, she just needs a good seeing to. Yeah, or she needs to be ridden hard or put away wet. Okay, that's a cure for her ills. You guys have heard that, haven't you?
Yeah. That's usually that has to do sometimes with their cycle, and usually it's when they start stirring up shit. They're giving you signals, and most men miss them because we're never taught. Most men were never taught, and they have no idea what the cycles of their woman are.
So, okay, we already kind of talked about the next one. She has sex for resources or money. We touched on it a little.
Yeah, that's true.
But
How many women get
say,
with the guy? It's like their security phase, epiphany security phase, according to Red Pill. Oh, we had our fun time with Chad Thundercock, effing this guy, that guy, right? The cock carousel, right? They had their fun on the cock carousel in the early 20s, mid 20s. Oh, well, now the clock's ticking. They realize the clock's ticking on their fertility. They want to have a baby. Their friends are having babies. Oh, maybe it might be a good idea now. It's a thing to do to fit in with the rest of her friends. Let's settle down, find a man with resources.
yeah, well, that's all true. But prostitutes have sex for money or for resources. Or younger women will find the sugar daddy. There'll be a sugar baby.
OF.
OF.
Well,
Yeah.
they do that on OF, but they do it in real life. Well, there are websites they can go on to find this. I don't know if Ashley Madison, that's more for affairs, right? Tinder, does that? I think you can kind of do some of that. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, there are websites.
Lots of it happens on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Instagram.
I mean, hey, and they advocate becoming a sugar baby for resources and money. Okay, well, here's another scenario in the married scenario. Let's say she wants to make a big purchase. Might she decide, let's have sex tonight, and I'll ask him later. I'll be extra nice to him today and tomorrow. Maybe we'll have sex a couple of times, and then he'll be pleased with me, and then he'll be more apt to grant my request. Might that happen?
Oh, of
Steve,
course.
Steve, you actually reminded me of a. Do you guys remember it's a sitcom called Scrubs? Did you guys ever watch that?
I remember that. Yeah, I watched some of it.
So in
I don't
one of the
remember.
episodes, there's this scene where there's two characters, Carla and Turk, and they're married, and she
Oh
is
yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
she's talking with I can't remember the blonde doctor's name, but she's talking with that character, and they're talking about different sexual acts, and Carla says, "Oh no, I'm waiting." And I'm waiting to let him do. There was something like, I'm waiting to let him do that for this tennis bracelet that I want. And this is a sitcom from the 2000s, like the early 2000s. Even now, Scrubs ran for a long time, but like this was in one of the earlier episodes. So this is like way back. Look, sitcom writers 20 years ago knew that women behaved this way. And they actually show, later. I mean, it's a PG rated sitcom, so they don't actually show them doing it, but they show her with the tennis bracelet, and implying that she did the thing, right? Whatever the thing it was, doesn't matter. But she did the thing, and she got the tennis bracelet.
Okay. So the next one is appeasement. Now I'm going to ask Nick, if a husband is just been on his wife and bugging her for sex, might she just allow it to happen, just to shut him up and get some peace and give him some starfish sex?
I got the text messages of that apparently. So, yep.
My ex did that
Had
for a little while, but she
had no
stopped.
idea until I found the text. I was like, oh, so that's what was going on. I had no clue.
Yeah,
What were you
my
saying,
ex did the
Dark?
same thing. Oh, my ex did the same thing, but she stopped. She stopped doing even that.
Oh.
That was when that's when the fighting started, and whatever. But
Yeah.
eventually, even that, they kind of look at it and go, "Why? Why would I continue to do this?" I guess.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Well, I guess if they're getting enough resources, they might keep doing it. Because one of my ex's major complaints was that I wasn't making enough. Not that I could have ever made enough. I basically tripled my salary in 2 years, but that wasn't enough. But yeah, there's probably, like, if even that stops, there's probably something else. And guys, if the appeasement sex stops, she already has a plan for which guy if she's not already writing that guy, she has a plan for who it's going to be when she ditches.
Yeah. 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 My mom told me this weekend. Yep. She already had her plan B before she exited. I said, yep, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, guys, all you Christian guys out here, we're talking pretty frankly about this stuff. Some of our language is a little bit unsophisticated,
Of course.
but we are, yeah, it's course. We're talking about women. Yes, potentially your wife.
Probably your wife.
Yeah, your mother.
Probably.
Your mother. Okay, all these things influence her. And you know what? Unfortunately, we're also talking about your daughters. Now, maybe they're younger. We're not going there. But when they get older, all these same things, they're women and they're going to behave as women. And you just hope that you've instilled enough sense in them and discipline where they don't behave like the worst of them.
No, Nick, I know you have daughters.
Oh yeah.
I'll bet you also have nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I got
I would.
I got
too.
2 daughters that I couldn't have any influence on. So that's why I'm saying it, because it's personal for me. So let's move on to the next one. Revenge. Sex
boy.
for revenge. Do either of the two of you have any stories about this? Because I got one.
Like, does this mean cheating?
Sex for revenge. You can use it however you want. If her motivation is revenge.
She can either be
Yeah, I've
using
never.
you as revenge against somebody else, or she can be using somebody else's
Oh,
revenge against you. I think that's what Steve's getting
oh.
at.
You see it for me. I'm like, how would I use sex as
Okay.
revenge? I'm just trying.
So okay, here's a we'll call
for
it
a
a
guy. Maybe it doesn't work for us. I don't know.
we'll call this one a hypothetical, okay? So a married a, ma- couple A, man and woman A are married.
Okay.
Man and woman B are married. Man A has an affair with woman B.
Okay.
Both man A and woman B get divorced.
Mhm.
So
Man B has sex
then,
with woman A,
and
or
then,
woman A has
and
sex with
then
man B.
man A and woman B start to
Yeah.
shack up and plan their life together. But woman A knows what's going on. So even though it's a nasty divorce, one night, and she's been contentious. One night, man A has to see the ex, and he's had a few beers, and woman A lets him know that, I'm receptive. Remember those good times? So man A has sex with woman A. Then woman A calls up woman B and says, we had sex. And woman B dumps man A. So woman A gets revenge on man A, her ex-husband who is cheating, and woman B,
Okay.
that hussy that he was cheating with.
So I think the most
Oh.
common story that I've seen, version of the story that I've seen on the internet is man A, woman B, they start cheating. Woman A finds out, woman A finds out about it and decides to go fuck man B and tells him about it. And now the women, they of course they usually tell the story as well. I just told him about it. He was devastated, and we were we were together in this moment where we've both been cheated on, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, okay, whatever moralization you want to put around it, that is what you're doing. It's revenge sex. But it's actually a fairly
Okay.
common story on the internet if you go into these sort of even in the men's spaces, you'll see these stories pop up all the time.
Okay.
I that didn't happen. That didn't happen to me. I don't think it happened to Nick. So I don't know that we have any personal experience with this.
No,
So like
I
for a
don't
guy,
have
if
any
you're
personal
betrayed,
experience.
why the fuck would you ever go back to that? Fuck that.
Well, no, it's you go to the woman of the other guy, and you have sex with her. It's I don't
Mhm.
guys do it, but I think that's more just
Hey,
for guys. It's just more just
there
hey, fun.
are numerous. It's actually quite common that a divorced couple will hook up after the divorce,
Yeah.
either on an ongoing basis or a one or two time, or for month here and then it ends. I've heard lots of uh, stories about that.
Yeah, there. I hate to say it, guys, but there's a reason that there's so many different tropes in porn. Those stories come from somewhere.
So, okay, the next one. He has sex for adventure and experiences.
Could be related to pleasure.
Oh, they like to travel a lot.
Well, that's why she was traveling when she was younger. And when she wants new experiences, she's got a boyfriend or something. She may go on a vacation and sample some more merchandise. And she might be more adventurous in the sampling because he's not going to do that with her boyfriend or husband because she's not that kind of girl.
Look, guys, they have these dreams of they need to live it up, travel the world, and they need memories of all around the world. And they'll have the FOMO of not doing it. And who's gonna tell?
So the yoga community is particularly famous for this. These gentlemen, I think I've said this before, but I'm going to say this again because it always needs to be repeated. If your wife is going on a yoga trip to India, call the lawyer the day she leaves, throw her stuff in a storage unit, and have paperwork for her to sign, because the reason she's going to India for a yoga retreat is shows that she can get plowed by new dick. That's it. I've seen both sides of it because of what Elena does. And these guys over in India know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. Okay. And it's an experience. I need to go have an adventure. I need to, and even if the woman can't afford it, if your wife gets suddenly interested in the gym.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit, that was a red flag way back. I should have paid attention to.
Hey, Nick, isn't there a song about this?
Sadhguru. Yeah. Yes, Shu.
What about the what?
Travel. She's getting dick down in Dallas, railed out in Raleigh, tag teamed up in Tennessee, anal in Austin, buck fucked in Boston, given neck down in New Orleans.
It wouldn't be so funny if it weren't so true.
Right. Yeah, guys. And for this one, really, I think the only thing to say is honestly, I would say let her go, because she is telling you how much she values the relationship, which is basically none. And that's why I said you throw all her stuff in a storage unit, say, here's the keys, it's in your name. And by the way, here's the paperwork. My ex did not have the money to travel, but she got really interested in the gym about a year and a half into our relationship, like really, really interested in the gym. And then I found her the guy that at the gym, and I even met the guy, and I wasn't supposed to do what I did. I intervened. It kind of pissed her off, but it kind of turned her on because women are weird like that. Well, because it meant that I was paying attention and that anyway, girl stuff. But so adventure and experiences. If your girls and by the way, this is why the red pill says you've got to keep giving her adventures and experiences. Now, I want to point something out about that. It doesn't work as a long-term strategy because it's a dopamine.
Over contract.
Right.
It's also a covert contract.
Yeah, and it's a dopamine thing, so you have to constantly increase the quality and expense of the experience. So if it's, we'll get into this kind of stuff on Wednesday.
Well, let me comment on that. My second wife, we were talking, we talked about these things. And she talked about the highlight reel, as in movie reel.
Mm-hmm.
That women take these experiences and in their mind, they keep and treasure these as their highlights of their life, sexual highlights. Yeah, it's corrosive when she has highlights of some other guy. So theoretically, there are some benefits to being adventurous and making, doing everything that the other guys did and doing it better. Because then theoretically, her highlight reel is going to be about you. But of course, you're never going to do that perfectly.
Well,
yeah.
So when I did a marriage ministry when I was still married and stuff. I did it for a while, became a leader in it, all sorts of crap. It basically just made men into, it did make men responsible, but it just excused women's shitty behavior and never really made them change, except unless they actually were cheating on their husband or were caught, basically. Anyways, there one of the helpful things, they had a guest speaker that came in and they said, this is how your sexual experiences work. And they had a handbook, right? I don't know if anybody's experienced this or heard this story. So your sexual experiences are shaped. Say your first one, you press it into the hand mold, and that is what you expect. Well, how many times you have all these expectations with this cock, that cock, that cock, For men, yeah, there's some expectations it changes. I don't think it's as bad as for women, but for women especially, it fills all these expectations, all these things that they want, and one man never quite fits all those molds, the more cocks they have.
Yeah, the red pill talks about this too. This is the reason why, after 5 or 6 bodies, even the research says it can go up to 10. That probably depends on how close the guys are to each other. But what I think ends up happening for women in this case is they end up building a composite image out of all the different guys that they've been with. Well, if I just had, Chad's, if I could find a guy with Chad's abilities in bed, but Kevin's money and
all right, I've seen that meme.
Right, yeah. It is a meme now on Twitter.
On X. Yeah.
But it, like with a lot of memes, there is really something to that. There's a truth to that. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about here is yeah, okay, you can do this, but each guy is going to bring something different. And eventually the guy you're looking for ends up being a composite of every guy you've had. And if you've had 1,000 guys, like some of these women out here bragging, okay, well, it's a very good composite image of the perfect guy. The problem is you've been through 1,000 guys and not a one of them is that. And because there isn't a guy who is that picture of composite perfection. Then, and Nick, this is where it gets really dicey. Of course, now they're 28, 29, and they go to the church, and what does the church offer? It offers Jesus as the perfect guy.
Yes.
So you can see how the progression plays out through time.
Right.
They go ride the carousel. They build this composite of a perfect guy. They can't find him on earth. And the church says, aha, we have the perfect guy for you. He's just dead and lives in heaven.
Which gives them justification for taking the purity route.
Correct.
With the man they marry. And then basically withholding sex or not doing anything except starfish.
Or it turns into, particularly for the children of these, the female children of these women, it turns into, they then teach to their female children, oh, Jesus is the best guy out there. You should find a guy who emulates Jesus's, and then those girls, they take that to heart, and they literally try to make Jesus their boyfriend. Yes, Nick, I know that's heresy, but they, yeah, shoot, exactly. You can't compete with Christ's perfection. It's not possible. And so these girls, I knew two of them growing up. I'm sure I actually knew more of them, but the two names just popped into my head, where they literally would say, yeah, Jesus is my boyfriend. One has never been married. One was married for a few years and ditched the guy.
And a lot of those girls want sex.
Want the real Jesus. That's the problem. They don't really want the real Jesus, because the guys that draw close to Christ and are like Christ, oh shit, there's accountability. Oh shit,
Standards.
there's obligations. Oh, there's standards. Oh, but my Jesus just loves me no matter what I do. He never holds me accountable. Oh.
Well, and a lot of those women just get disillusioned with the whole
Yes, they do.
theme,
They do.
and their biological urge takes over, and they can become quite promiscuous because, hey, that Jesus is my boyfriend didn't work for me. And
some of them
yeah,
do, some of
they're
them
gone.
don't.
Deconstruct.
Some of them go hyper puritanical, and I've seen it go both ways. I seriously have. The pastor's daughter at my church went the horror route, but a couple other girls. Now, she was reasonably good looking, and so she could, but a couple other girls who were 2s and 3s, they couldn't, and they just dove into the purity for everything they could get out of it. And no, as far as I know, those girls probably have had sex at some point, and I just don't know about it. But
did they become church Karens?
they did.
Mm.
But their purity has become their religion, their idol.
Mm-hmm.
And they make sure you know about it, because what is better, or how bad can it be? I'm this perfect little Christian girl, right? I do everything right. Yeah, Nick, I see I see that over there.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Bullshit.
The next one, women have sex because they're bored.
Yeah, sure. That's because they
Sure.
want adventures and experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
so.
And okay, just another example of boredom that happens around here occasionally. And Steve, you might have even been familiar with this. You get snowed in. Can't go anywhere. Nightclubs are all closed down. The guy next to you.
Only so many puzzles you can do.
Yeah, right. The guy next to you,
Yeah.
well, he's there. I
Or
wouldn't.
the power goes out.
Yep.
Maybe your heat is off. Well,
Gotta stay
kind of
warm.
chilly. Power will be on. I guess we're gonna have to go to bed because I'm cold. You go to bed. Electronics aren't working because the power's out. Oh, gee, what should we do?
Yeah, girls, don't do what Elena did during the last power outage we had. I told her that the power was likely going to go out. She still burned through all of the battery on her phone anyway. She's like, "Why is there only 9% left?" And I'm like, because you were on your phone all day."
What
I
you
told
mean
you.
with all that money she
Bullshit.
spent? She's not bought herself a power brick for these emergencies?
I ended up donating my power brick that I use on
Oh
airplanes.
no.
Well, the power went out while I was out of the house, so I ended up.
I'm just
Yeah.
poking fun at it.
Right,
This,
but
and a little bit at Alina.
it's a little ridiculous. But yes, hey, if the phones are dead, and by the way, your phone will in a broad scale power outage, just notes for you guys out there, your phone is going to kick into high gear trying to find a tower. And if it can find one, but it's really far away, it's going to burn through your battery really quick. If the power goes out, turn your phone off to save the battery, unless you have a brick. But if you live out in the sticks and you don't know when your power's coming back, like it took some people in our most recent run 10 days to get their power back. Even then, even if you have a brick, don't turn your phone on. Just a tip for you guys out there.
Okay, the next
Some
one.
things when I'm out in the sticks. Okay.
Competition.
Oh, Dread. Are we talking about Dread game?
I don't know. These are just talking points. You can take them wherever you want.
I view revenge as a specialization of competition.
Okay.
And
so
to get a man and keep a man is also a form of competition. Remember how we were talking about earlier when it was about to get a man, right? Or even obtain power with the OF girls, right? Because the OF girls can say, aha, I can. Steve, you said it. Those OF girls, they're out competing all the other women. They can, well, they don't get all men, but they don't really care. They get more than other girls. So if money is how men keep score, then women keep score by how many men they can pull.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, well, go ahead, Nick.
I'll just say competition. So, why a woman will have sex with a man? Oh, let's just say the bedroom's been kind of dry. All of a sudden, the waitress starts taking an interest in you. And you don't really flirt with her, but you are friendly.
I've done this. I'm going to hear about this when we get off too, because Elena hates it every time I bring it up. And this was one time. This is just the one time I'm just being nice. And there was no way that I was going to do anything with this girl. She was not my wife. Let's just leave it there. But the fact that I was friendly, I wasn't even flirting, not really, just friendly. Oh, that sent Elena over the moon. And we don't go out much anymore, which I'm fine with because it saves money. But Elena learned that I will be friendly with the wait staff, and that was not okay.
Competition anxiety kicks in, and they want to keep their man.
You know what? And your woman is also thinking, if she knows anything about you, or you're an older guy and you've been with other women, at some point she's thinking of the competition from the past as well. Or she might be. Okay, not all these motivations are present at once. But she might be competing against to prove that she's better than the women you've had in the past.
And well, competition anxiety, it's a useful tool. We call it dread game. That's kind of more of a PUA term. And the thing I would tell guys is that a little bit of it goes a very long way. If you do too much, one of two things is going to happen. Both of them end up blowing up your relationship. Either she's just going to check out and walk away and say, oh, I can't compete with this, I'm out. Or she's just going to escalate, get very domineering and controlling of your life, and you're going to say, I'm out. So this, the red pill loves to talk about dark triad tactics, but if you're going to do it, you have to do it in the context of a healthy relationship, and a milligram will go you years. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, okay. So the next one is she'll have sex to get closer to God.
I mean, look, it's not a it is sort of sacramental if you think about it. In a theological sense, it does reflect the I know Steve's into the seven sacraments. I'm not, but I would say it reflects sacramentology. I'll go there. It reflects the sacramentology of union with Christ and his church, particularly during the partaking of the bread and wine during communion, where you have a greater sense of union with Christ through the participation of by faith in the sacraments. There is a real presence there. In likewise manner, there is when you have sex, you can understand that, hey, you are one flesh with this person. There's a greater sense of union, and you can reflect on that about Christ and the church and so on and so forth. But you don't have to go into all the sexual aspect, but you can understand a certain sense of lawful intimacy.
Well, let me summarize. Sex is unitive. The two shall
Okay.
become one. Okay, that's in the Bible. Okay, well, in that way, yeah, it can bring you closer to God, I guess. Yeah, okay, but how do you know if this is true? Well, how many times when you're making love have you heard a woman say, "Oh my God"?
Yeah, figured that was coming.
Well, if I guess, yeah, I was just going to repeat what Nick was saying about the hierarchy. It's like if she can, if you are good and godly, and she can have sex with you, and that in the hierarchy that would put her closer to God. I could see that. I was also
Sure.
thinking about the triangle that we talked about. The complementarian triangle where you go up the two sides of the triangle. I think that's the wrong way to think about it, but
You know what?
I can see how the complementarians get there.
It might have nothing to do with this. It's just that when she gets lost in the moment and swept away with the sensation, she becomes one with the universe, and it's like she finds God and peace. Hey, we're talking about women here. Don't put too much logic into it.
Yeah.
No, I deny that. Totally.
Okay, Nick, that's how
That's a
they
bunch of pagan astrology, whatever bullshit.
yes,
Astrology
but
bullshit.
that's how they describe how they feel about it.
And they're wrong.
Okay. Yes.
They don't even know how they feel.
Okay, so the next one is duty.
Okay.
So duty sex is real, according to Dr. David Buss.
Yeah.
Well,
It
this
could be
list doesn't
good or
come from
bad.
him, but I don't know. Was it in his list too?
Well, this
mean-
is the thing that the red pill talks about: genuine burning desire versus duty sex. And
Well,
I don't think there's
this
anything wrong with it as being a duty. There's nothing wrong with it being as a duty, but to relegate it as just mere duty, like oh, I guess I have to do this, instead of, oh, I get to do this and it's good, there's a difference.
That's true, but you did promise in your vows that you'd be married, and it's part of the marital debt. It's you gave rights to your body to the other person, therefore you
That is
can't
true.
withhold it. It's a duty.
That's
I
true.
mean, yes, that shouldn't be your
It's true.
motivation, but it should be an understanding that, yeah, I gave my consent, and yeah, I got to perform. Sometimes you got to perform when you'd rather not.
I'm going to say this. This can come back to bite you in a court of family law that way. Um, yeah. Never make it forced. Always, it should be
Yeah.
consensual. And
Well,
even then, they can change their mind. Even if they had the genuine burning desire, they can change their mind years later and say that it was forced upon you, even though it's bullshit. There you go.
right. And on that one, if the duty sex is treated as that sort of, well, I have to do this, it kind of goes back to what Steve was saying earlier about, when he was dealing with the fertility stuff. If you're doing something because you're forcing yourself to do it, you're going to struggle with it. So, and that's both guys and girls. So, when the red pill says, oh, well, you should get a girl who has genuine burning desire, and duty sex is nothing, like, that's kind of the aspect that they're talking about. They have the same view of duty as an obligation as the feminists do, that it's this onerous task that one must complete, and why should I have to do that with somebody who doesn't? And look, I'm not saying that having sex with somebody who isn't into it is fun. It's not. Been there, done that, have that t-shirt. We're not trying to say that isn't true, like that duty sex is like enjoyable as this onerous thing that you have to do. What we're saying is that in the context of marriage, it is an obligation as part of the contract, for lack of a better term, that you are signing together. So for the women out there, what I would say is this: it is a duty under the Christian marriage system, but how you think about it, if you approach it as duty, as that feminist conception of onerous duty, where I must, darn it, I have to have sex with this guy again, I hate his guts, but I have to, yeah, then it's going to be really, really tough. But if you approach it as, you know what, I really enjoy having sex, this is the guy I've agreed to have sex with in exchange for whatever, if you have to make it about transactions, we'll get into that in a bit, and on Wednesday probably. But if there's so many
Here's an
other reasons
analogy.
to have sex that you don't need to make it about the onerous.
Well, sex should be joyous,
Yeah.
playful, enjoyable. But men have a duty to provide for their wife. They have a
Yes.
duty to get up in the
Yes.
morning and go to work. Does that mean he can't enjoy his job or like it most of the time? No. I mean, you can do your duty and you can actually, hey, I enjoy what I'm doing to accomplish the purpose of providing in my job. Okay. Sex can be thought of similarly. Just because it's a duty doesn't mean it has to be a chore
And
or unpleasant.
the feminist propaganda, and this is feminist propaganda, needs to tie sex to a chore, because in order to convince women to stop having sex with men, they need to make it a chore. So, and the goal of feminism is to, of course, make women sexually dominant over men. And as we talked about in the Keep a Man segment, one of the ways you can keep a man or get a man is to not have sex with him. So the feminists actually are leveraging this concept of duty sex to convince women to not have sex with otherwise good men.
They can use this even for married women.
Oh yeah,
in the church.
That
happened to me.
Yes.
So that happened to me. I have the text messages between church, the sisterhood, team woman against team man, where, oh, he's a bad man. Oh, he's growing that facial hair. Oh, he's kissing the children. He hasn't, he's too cranky. He hasn't earned your box, basically. oh, he can't complain that nothing's happening. No, he has to earn it. You're right to withdraw from him.
That is
And then
not
all
Christian. That's just pure feminism. It's just,
you're evil.
well, that too. But that is the feminist imperative. There is the feminists need women to separate from men, because if men were actually treated equal to women in feminists, then women would not have power, and the feminists want women to have power over men. And so by making sex into this onerous, difficult chore, we can we can, well, women, who wants to have chore sex? Like, men, neither men or women. And so, right, yeah, no one wants to do that. So if we can make sex a chore, particularly sex with one guy a chore, then we can make it so that women and because the feminists know that the guy will leave after he'll do something stupid and leave. He'll cheat. There you go, Christians. Now you've got all the evidence you need, you Christian women. You got all the evidence you need to kick his ass to the curb now, right? He cheated. Never mind, you were a frigid bitch for 5 years beforehand. Okay. Or I don't know how long it was in your case, Nick, but you like, you get my point, right, guys? That is
Oh, yeah.
that's the plan. That's the goal. That's what the sisterhood is trying to do.
It works pretty well.
Yeah, it does, yes. And
You
it's
either make your life miserable, or sometimes you'll actually have an affair or step out
right.
or use porn or corn.
Particularly OnlyFans.
Going back to that 90% number. 90% of
Yep.
OF users
Or
are
that
I'm not excusing it.
There
I'm
were-
not saying men should do it, but it's a reality. It's
Yep.
a statistical.
before that
Right.
there was the paid phone sex stuff.
Oh,
Right.
right.
I got hooked on that too.
Sometimes when I'm on location, when there's an excess population of men in the oil field, right? So we get
Can't
these
imagine why.
we still get those advertisements on the TV. I'm like, really, this thing's still around?
Well, if so, there is a difference between the two. On the phone stuff, it's one-on-one, so you're getting that very
Oh.
you're getting a more intimate connect. OnlyFans is cheaper because $10 a month versus I don't know what they cost, but I'm sure they're more than that. It might be $10 for 10 minutes, right? It's $1 a minute. Right?
Well, I
But
think different each content creator can set their own rates.
yeah,
So
But
and they usually have levels of service
right. But
From-
okay, so
from what I've gathered.
let's
So
say
you can
set
get
it
the
as-
basic level, but you can get personal contact,
yeah,
text
you can.
messages
You can.
if you go $100 a month or whatever it is.
Well, but it's doing the same kind of thing, and also particularly in the oil fields, there's probably enough gentlemen who are on the older side that OnlyFans really isn't their thing. So I don't know, Nick.
Yeah.
You'd have to tell me what the demographics are, and I'm not saying that you need to live. I'm just like it could be that there's not enough young men out there who think, oh yeah, I'm going to go to OnlyFans versus the phone lines.
Let's just say there's not the local population of ladies are a bunch of 304s, and a lot of them are pretty trashy. And there's an over excess of men in regards to women, and they're away from, if they're married, they tend to be away from their wives for a long time. And I don't know from OF to the phone thing. I just know, like, yeah, these guys get lonely. Like, they're out there by themselves.
I hung out. I'd be on pipeline spreads where these
Yeah.
guys come in. They're building a pipeline. Same kind of thing. They're up from. The welders come up from Tulsa. That's where all those guys are. They're up in Minnesota building a pipeline. I tell you, when those guys are in town, lock up your daughters and probably your wife too,
Yep.
because yeah, it's they have a lot of money and they're spreading it around, and there's opportunity. But most of those guys most of those guys have been divorced at least once.
Yep.
So we're
John, I
kind of
hear
off track
stories,
here.
so- Yeah,
Eh.
I hear stories at the courthouse all the time. So
Yeah, we're off track, but that was a fun one
Yeah.
to go down.
Yeah, that's fine. So the next one is conquest. Sex for conquest. We probably touched on that. Some of these others. I mean, men understand that. Young men, especially.
Mhm.
You know, it's I got one. It's a bragging rights. Guess we kind of talked about that for women too. I don't know if it's conquest is exactly the word that describes it for women, though. What do you guys think?
I don't think women do it for conquest. I think men can kind of do it for conquest. Kind of bragging rights amongst their friends.
I don't know if conquest would be the word I would use, but there are women out there who they view. I mean, I'm thinking about all the women who publish their numbers, on their TikToks.
Yeah.
Here, I went to this event. I went to there's this one that occasionally pops up. It's like, here's how many bodies I had before I went to this event. Here's how many bodies I had afterwards. I'm like, really?
All you're proving is that you're a 304. I don't.
Well, of course it's one of the leftoids who thinks that, this is all a good thing. But
I don't even think it's a good thing when men do it. So,
they're out there. I don't think it's
Okay.
very common though.
Okay, well, the last one. What is the last one? Hey, does anybody who's watching the show, do they know what the last one is? What haven't we mentioned?
Yeah, we have mentioned a lot, but what haven't we mentioned?
I'm waiting. Nobody's coming in here with it. We don't have a lot of listeners right now.
Well, we have a bunch over on Twitter, but they can't comment at us because Twitter is.
So anyway, the last one is sex for love. So what do you guys think? Does she have sex for love?
Do women do that?
maybe.
This is quite telling. You know,
A
we're
bunch of
not
divorced
getting
dudes. No. The girls
we're
are
not
saying
getting
you're
a
a bunch of,
resounding. Oh, absolutely. I don't know.
internet,
Maybe.
Steve, the internet's just going to say we're a bunch of jaded divorced dudes who, we can't possibly understand because we're not lovable.
Could be.
We're damaged goods.
I don't know, ladies out there. I'm married for 8 years now. Good Lord.
You know,
Well,
if a woman loved you, would it really be that hard? Would it really be that difficult?
No, it wouldn't. And that's
No.
if a woman really loves you, none of the rest of anything we've talked about really applies. I mean, the red pill uses the term genuine desire. Okay. Love encompasses more than that. And I don't know if you could ever really know if anyone actually really loves you. And of course, I'm talking about other humans here.
I'll flip this around. This is how I've talked about this when we talked about marital counseling in the church, right? And servant leadership. Oh, you just need to love your wife more. That's why you know, serve her more, love her
Ooh.
more. That's why she's not fucking you. Where's her love for me as a guy?
That's a great question.
Well, she's gonna
That's the
love you
question
if
you
you're
should be asking. That's the
if you
question you should
earn her
ask.
love, she's gonna love you.
But Steve, that just turns the relationship into a transaction. But we keep saying that love is not in the Bible and in church. We keep saying love's not a transaction. But if I give, but the church then comes to me and says, "Oh, if you just give her more love, she'll give you more." Wait a minute.
I tried that.
Yeah, most men
Doesn't
have
work.
tried that. Well, a lot of men. Let's say a lot of men have
Yeah,
tried that.
the three of us have all tried it.
Well, what's the definition of love? And I will say that the definition of love is different between men and women. A man's understanding of love is quite different than a woman's understanding of love. Most women, can't say all women, but a man believes love is an act of will. It's an act of, well, service and providing. And he has the authority. He has responsibility. Love is taking responsibility for others, and it's sacrificial, but it's a conscious act of will. I would say that most women believe that love is a feeling, it's an emotion. And that's why when times get tough, she'll divorce you, take you for everything you got, because the feeling of love is gone. Well, if she can treat you so like such a piece of shit and take more than 50% and keep your kids from you, was it love? Did she ever love you in the male definition? No, can't say that she did. It was emotional. Does she know how to love? Does she love her children? If she will deprive her children of their father, that's complete selfishness. So I would say, you know what? My conclusion is that most women do not have sex for love, or at least I have not encountered one.
Well, so you defined how men love, sacrificial. It's, these an act of will. It's these things that men do. Okay. And I believe, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Bible actually makes very similar assertions about what love is.
That's very true. We had an episode on that.
Right. We did. And the red pill kind of shows us that women don't. So, yes, Steve, I think you're right. Women don't really have sex for love. I would even go so far as to say is I think you're correct that for them it is a feeling. And you were talking about when they leave, how can they do these things to you? Well, if love is just a feeling and you take that feeling away from them, or at least in their minds, you've taken that away from them. How dare you?
How dare you?
Well, yes, exactly. But it's like all of a sudden it becomes their duty to humanity to destroy you. And we've kind of
Yes.
talked about this in other episodes.
Oh,
kind of
family
around
courts
this.
much, right?
Yeah,
Family courts much. Let's just destroy all men and let's line our pockets while destroying the family and perpetuate the problem to keep filling our pockets.
right. So if we
Yeah.
accept the female definition of love as feeling, well, then I could just as easily say that love is tingles. that women love whoever gives them the tingles in the moment. Now, I'm not saying that all women cannot love, like in an actual biblical way. I'm not saying that. Although I would argue that the vast majority of them don't today.
Well, that's why some of the women get mad at the red pill guys because they've picked up on their tingles and they know how to play off their supposed love, which they don't really know what love is. These women, a lot of them don't even know what it is. They're not grounded in it. They haven't been taught it. A lot of them don't have good fathers or have fathers,
Yeah.
and so they realize how to. Hey, what biological cues can I pick up on? Where can I press my hands? How do I need a right? How do I ride her need for drama? How do I develop certain traits that would attract them, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, what it also means, and I think we're going to talk quite a bit about this on Wednesday. It also means, because we're going to be talking about short-term culture on Wednesday, but if love is just feelings, the one thing I can guarantee you in life is that your feelings are going to change towards,
Mhm.
especially towards somebody, a spouse who you're spending lots and lots of time with. You know, I get, I get very disappointed with Elena's behavior sometimes.
Change monthly.
Right. So, but that
Yeah.
doesn't,
Just saying.
well, but for me, it doesn't change how I might, correct her, but it doesn't change how I operate over time. But if you live in this emotional world where, oh, well, I don't love you because you made me mad, then you're just going to kill the relationship the moment you can. And so it creates this culture where the only way you can experience love is these short-term relationships.
Well, it's kind of a man's job to maintain an even keel because sometimes a woman is going to get a little bit excited about things.
Yep.
If he gets excited at the same time, things escalate. And that's not good. But yes, is it possible for a woman to love? I would say yes. I just haven't seen it. What does it take? She learns that from her father, from growing up under a father, under the authority of a father who's looking out for her, putting in boundaries, enforcing the boundaries, going to work, being devoted to the family, to providing for her, actually talking to her and caring about her. And that happens over time. But in the process, he is holding her accountable, which is providing the discipline so she can develop self discipline, so she doesn't act erratically on her emotions. And through that process, and it takes many years and it takes good family environment. Yes, she can learn love, but absent that learning, she's going to fall back on and just believe love is an emotion.
And this is why the willful and willing emasculation of boomer men has been such a tragedy, because these men won't do any of this. They won't even even if the fathers are around in their daughters' lives, they won't behave in a loving way to their wives. They simp for their wives. They pedestalize their wife, and of course, the daughter looks at that and goes, "Well, clearly that's what men are supposed to do." And then they wake up, 10 years later, having slept their way through whatever city they're in, wondering why they can't find a guy, to love them, quote unquote. And then we see him in the churches because they were never taught what love actually is. And yes, Shu, we are. I can't put that one up on screen, but yes, we are, apparently, according to all the definitions. So what this also means is that if you accept I would say that the red pill definition of genuine burning desire is a good start, but it's insufficient. Because genuine burning desire can't
Fade.
it can fade. Look, there's an example. This woman was on a podcast and she was either dating or married to a UFC fighter. And the guy takes a mean hit and he goes down hard, fights over. But the look on his face, and he's knocked out. It was a knockout hit, but he had this dumb look on his face. And she's on this podcast saying, well, why'd you break up with him? She said, well, look, I just couldn't get over the dumb look on his face. This is an apex predator. This is as good as it's ever going to get for that emotionally driven female. He had genuine burning desire. And then he takes one bad hit and the next day she breaks up with him.
They wait out. What was it? The thing is, they wait at the finish line and F the winners, right?
Yeah,
That's
and if
what
you're
the
not,
red pill guys say,
right, and if you're not a winner, then they leave. If you don't continue being a winner, they leave. And I would say that that's true if feelings dominate.
but that's the world we live in, pretty much.
It is.
Unfortunately.
And I'm not trying to say that it isn't, but what I am saying is that's not love.
No.
And so what I would say is for all the guys out there chasing genuine burning desire, okay, you are chasing a short-term feeling that can be removed on a moment's notice. If you another one that comes up more frequently is guy loses a parent, say a dad or a mom. Look, we're all going to lose our parents.
That happens.
Well,
that's one thing that's certain in life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's certain in life. Yeah.
The only thing we can hope for is that our parents leave this world before we do. That we outlive that. Like that's the best case scenario, because everyone's going to die. And you hear these stories about these guys. They're crying. They lost their mom or their dad, and they're taking a hit. These women, they break up with them the next day.
Because he showed weakness.
Right. And
so yeah, don't be emotionally vulnerable with your woman.
Don't be like David and cry over your dead son, your son who's dying.
Oh, you can. Apparently. Just don't do it in her presence.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Fuck them. You know what? Fuck those people.
What ends up happening?
They can fuck off.
Well, what ends up happening, I think, and this is where I do kind of disagree with what the red pill says a little bit, by trying to make these guys who are emotionally, by trying to say, oh, well, you can never show any emotion in front of your woman because she will leave you. They are admitting the limitations of their strategy. Okay. And they're admitting that these women don't actually love them. They just like them a little bit for the moment. So
kick them to the curb now.
Right. Yeah. Like it honestly, to what I would say so if you're a genuine burning desire guy and you know that there's a death, like say you get warning that there's a death in the family coming, cancer is a common way to go. Just kick and you believe in genuine burning desire, just kick her out now.
Yeah.
I realize that's like, particularly as Christians, but why? That's well, okay. Because the moment you display that weakness, she's gonna bounce.
There's no mechanism to keep them in check.
Right. So really what you're doing is with the genuine burning desire is you're saying, okay, this is all there is. And for the most part, that's true. But when that day comes and you know that you're going to be displaying some emotion, just kick them first. Because are there relationships where there's more than this? Yes, there absolutely are. I live in one. And if all you want is a series of short-term relationships, and we'll talk about this more on Wednesday, genuine burning desire is all you need. That's true
from her. But
from her. Yeah,
we should bring this to a close
we should.
pretty soon.
I'm starting to bleed into
But-
next week.
Okay, so let me say this: men are going to love.
Yep.
The way men love, and you're gonna love her without reservation. And I cannot tell you, oh, just love her partially. Don't go all in on your love. No, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. So fine. Go ahead, love her without reservation, but do not confuse that with trusting her implicitly with no reservation.
Yes, absolutely.
Love and
Don't throw
trust
your mind out
are
the window.
two different things.
Don't throw your mind out the window like I did.
And
We all did.
what did Ronald Reagan say to the Russians when he was negotiating the nuclear agreements?
Trust but verify.
So I guess
That
it's
one?
not implicit trust.
Well,
yeah. Okay.
and-
I'd say love, but verify, and it's a qualified trust.
Correct. But I have access to Elena's social medias, guys. By the way, with the feet, just stop with the feet, guys. I see all that. Just knock it off. She's not interested.
I
Yeah,
think I know what's going on.
yeah, it's. But I do check in. I do check on my wife. I do verify things. I also do have to check her behavior occasionally. Thank God it's occasionally. If I was having to do this every day, I probably would have skipped town, if you know what I mean. And she knows that. Yeah, I would have gone for milk if you all get the reference. But yeah, love is, particularly with women, it just has to be qualified. It can't, and I don't think this is a new thing. I think bringing up Ronald Reagan is a great example, right? We've known this about working with other humans. Why do we treat women as if they are some sort of superhuman beings that are not subject to the same? Ronald Reagan's telling you, oh, trust but verify when you're dealing with foreign leaders. Yeah, those are men. Those are the rational actors. But yet we pedestalize women to the point where it's like, oh no, we can't question her love for us. Bullshit. Question her love even more.
All right. I'll give you. I'll close my statements with this. It can get so bad, like in my case, where you have parents that hate each other, don't talk to each other at all, no communication, like undying. You might say undying hatred. I don't think it's that far, but you get the point. They start telling you the same thing. Then your other family starts telling you the same thing. Then you ignore the court cases that add up beforehand. You ignore everything. But hey, then the church says, "Oh, that's okay. Why don't you trust her? You just need to love her more. You need to trust your wife. Just trust her."
No, you don't.
No.
It was Thanksgiving. I was recently accused of not trusting Elena. I'm not going to get into the full story. The guys, I shared it with the guys earlier, but I was accused of not trusting my wife. And the answer to that question is, you're right, I don't. Not completely. Like
What?
you're implying
Your
I should.
discussion really wasn't even about that. Some
No,
other
it
woman
wasn't.
brought it up.
Yes. No, but that
It was somewhat of a non sequitur. And it was a female retort because he's probably losing the argument or didn't like where it was going.
Didn't
So,
like where it was going.
time to go and attack.
Yep.
It's a
She didn't
common
like where it
thing.
was going, and so this accusation that I didn't trust my wife came out. I didn't just immediately jump in and say, "You're right, I don't," because in that setting, I didn't want to do that to her. Now, Elena would actually
But-
understand, but
But the thing is, in your marriage vows, you promised to love her.
that's true.
You didn't promise to trust her. You understand that you have authority and responsibility. Well,
Yep. Yep.
the authority means you get to or you need to understand the behavior and what's going on, and you have the responsibility to do that. So our modern, when we throw in the modern understanding of trust in this, well, just trust her whatever she does. No, this is a marriage. This is not a partnership.
Yep. And I'm responsible. Like it is strange to me that people can come in and say, "Oh, you're supposed to trust this person completely and you're supposed to be completely responsible for them." Then how am I supposed to verify that they're doing what they are supposed to be doing? The whole thing is nonsense. So, of course I don't
But this
trust my
sound-
wife implicitly. Of
This
course.
sounds bad, but are you willing to give your life for in the service or protection of her?
Well, the long distance hole puncher that lives next to me says yes. You know,
Well, you're willing to put yourself at risk to protect her. That's
yes,
love.
I am.
So, for anybody who wants to criticize us for saying, no, you shouldn't implicitly trust your wife. Okay, so be it. But I will say it's a man's job to protect her with his body and potentially with his life because,
Yeah.
hey, we're supposed to love our wives as Christ loved the church. Christ
Yep.
died for the church.
The thing that really gets me, and Nick he'll be nodding along over here, is that living out the actual picture of Christianity, the church tells you not to. The church tells you to
Yep.
not do that. It's like, here I am doing exactly what the church, what the Bible says I should be, yeah, it is my job. If I love this woman, I've made a vow to protect her. It's my job to stand up and take the bullet if that's what's required. Okay, I'm willing to do that. Yes, I've spent lots of money to make sure that I'm not at a disadvantage. I've got all the tools and all the training. I've done all the work I can possibly do. If I still am required to take that bullet, I will. As Steve said, die for, as Christ died for the church, right? And yet, because I don't trust her implicitly, I'm man bad. Church, that's you being fucked up, not me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing over here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? You said this was a great episode. What time did we finally decide on the topic here?
Let's see. When did I get the link up? So it was
2
10 minutes
hours before the stream. Okay, I'll do this one. And I whipped up a list and I knew we could wing it and put it together. Because I thought about these guys or these themes and, just going through it. I knew each one of us could share
Yep.
experiences on this and it would be a good one. I knew it was going to be a good one.
Oh man, we did some red pill tonight, men swapping notes. Oh.
But we did old school red pill. This wasn't modern. We're not. I guess we're just not appropriately red pill. And Steve, you did ask me to put together some notes for what'd you call it, the 2 red pills or something like that. So
Yeah, I guess
that'll
so.
that'll be coming up at some point. So we're going to change things up a little bit. On Wednesday night, I'm going to be leading a discussion on short-term culture, and we're going to get into it again. You know, you heard some of it tonight because it came up in the discussion of the red pill, but particularly around the concept of genuine burning desire. But there's more to it than that. So we're going to talk about short-term culture versus long-term culture, why short-term cultures always implode and die, and this one is dying too. But don't necessarily, you know, I said in one of my streams, "Fuck the decline." This is actually a continuation of me saying "fuck the decline." Um, I want long-term culture to prevail, and so we're going to analyze short-term culture, why it always fails, and why its failure does not actually presage the end; it presages the beginning. So I'm looking forward to that. I know I don't usually do Wednesday nights, but I had to steal a little bit of Nick's thunder over there.
Okay. Well, I got nothing more. You want to take us out, Plutarch?
All right. We will see you all on Wednesday.
Catch you on the flip side.